So, accelerating the transition to a sustainable economy, eh? It may prove difficult to accelerate something that is not already here. Let's say with Gandhi, one step at a time is enough for me, and go back to Rio Plus 20. An important outcome of Rio Plus 20 was the launch in the post-2015 Sustainable Development Goals negotiation, a process that will finally contribute to a reinterpretation of the notion of sustainability, especially it addresses the conditions of a transition to a sustainable economy. The Millennium Declaration proclaimed the, I quote, collective responsibility to uphold the principles of human dignity, equality, and equity at the global level. Of course, but how to go beyond the mantra and do it concretely? To be more specific, to combine the increase of everyone's well-being with sustainability is one of the greatest challenges for contemporary development. It is time to learn how to walk on two legs, bringing together social justice and environmental viability. It is time, in a globalized world, to emphasize the responsibility of human societies vis-à-vis of the future of spaceship Earth, to use the expression of the ecologist Howard Odom. The political, environmental, and economic context has deeply changed this last decennium. BRICS countries have become the center of all attentions, given that their economies made the world go around. In the meantime, disparities among people have increased considerably. There is a need to put an end to the abyssal inequalities in the living conditions between nations, but also within nations. The necessary compromise between the environmental and social objectives will not come from the invisible hand. The free interplay of market forces, by nature short-sighted and insensitive to the social dimension, to quote Ignacy Sachs. If we want to move to long-term strategies, we must turn to the visible hands with its 5 fingers, a renewed contrat social. Yes, to think about post-2015 also means, in the third centenary of the birth of Jean-Jacques Rousseau, to define a new social contract and to include stakeholders, neighborhood communities, and groups of individuals capable of forming voluntary associations among the major players of sustainable development. The effectiveness of sustainable policies lies largely in its collective appropriation, which is indirectly related to institutional arrangements. The recurring question of which coordination mechanisms are needed at the local, regional, national, and international scale is central here. Decision-making processes need to be understood on the basis of the following questions. Who decided on the necessary compromise? Which control and validation methods are possible? In the footsteps of regretted Professor Elinor Ostrom, it is essential to remember at this point that communities of interest or neighborhoods could be more effective in collectively managing commons than the market or classical organizational structures. It is important, prior to shaping any truly sustainable policy, to define what constitutes a good environment for the societies involved, one in which the improvement of environmental conditions, strictly speaking, water quality, air pollution, biodiversity, rational use of resources, soil, energy, and so on, will really lead to the improvement of living conditions. It is not rare that the response to environmental challenges end up reinforcing existing access inequalities. We should remember that we are the only living species capable of imagining and anticipating alternative futures, and therefore of planning. And that is why we're still here and everywhere on the planet. The sky is the limit, sure, provided that the sky finally doesn't fall upon us. To ensure this, it's essential to refund planning. It is possible today to design a new kind of planning conceived as the construction of a long-term democratic project, taking place simultaneously in its social, environmental, and spatial dimension. It is not the normative, prescriptive, mostly technical planning that failed in the past, but a planning where the populations concerned are the main actors, and that has the following elements at its heart: coupled human environmental systems, participative processes to construct political decisions, new information models integrating uncertainty. That kind of planning meets the following questions. Which kind of society do we want to live in? Which compromises between the goals and interests of the different groups? Which articulation between one decision-making level and the other? That is why we try to foster, that is what we try to foster at the International Research Center on Sustainability at Rheims University I had. And that is my contribution to this session. Thank you very much.